Hello! In this video, I'm gonna talk to you about a living room basic photo shoot for beginners using basic gear. You will learn what equipment you need for this photo shoot and how to set the camera angle and height. If you stay until the end of my video, you will also learn the basic settings for your camera exposure to get nice and attractive shots. This is Iyad from Zero to Hero Photography, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe and activate the notification bell to get the latest of my videos. This video is going to be practical. We're gonna perform a living room basic photo shoot for beginners in my friend's house. She happened to be an architect and an interior designer. She has a nice living room, and we're gonna focus on one corner of the living room just to conduct a basic photo shoot using the basic gear that I have for beginners. Let's go there and give it a shot. We have arrived to the location now, and the first thing we usually do is scanning the entire house. But because today I'm only going to focus on one room, so we should scout and go around the same room. So take for example this living room that I'm gonna shoot today. The first thing I did is checking if everything is clean, tidy, and as we said before, it's not our job to clean the house, but we can tidy it or move things around a little bit just to look nicer. For example, moving the cushions a little bit on that sofa. Or maybe just do the setup of the table. After that, we check the nicest or most attractive corner in the room. Showing 4 walls in one room might be distracting, so we need to find a corner that points in the direction of the viewers to the most unique feature of it. And in this room, I found this corner actually. It would be nicer if I had some windows behind it, but then it requires different kind of lighting, which we'll try in future videos. But let's go back to our example. This corner is the nicest one in the bedroom, in the living room. So I'm gonna focus on it. Make sure everything looks nice, and we don't have to take so many shots of the same room if it was a basic room. If it was a money shot or the hottest room in the house, then we might want to take several shots of different angles. Once we do that, we need to check the colors of the walls and see if they match with the floor, and if there's any texture we would like to show in the photo. For example, these walls, one of them is off-white and the other one is gray. We need to take care of them when we take the picture and setting up the exposure, maybe in the post-editing part later on, just to make sure that the colors are correct. And as for the texture, as you see, we have a nice carpet and nice tiles on the floor. We need to make sure that if they all match, it's better to show them in the photo. If they don't, maybe we focus on the nicest ones. One more thing you need to decide on is whether to turn the lights on or off. This is the room, for example, with the lights on. Check this one without the lights. We're back, and I hope it worked. But as you can see now, it looks a little bit pale. Adding some lights sometimes looks really nice and gives it some warmth for the photo. In other examples, the light might not be suitable because it might be too bright or too low for the photo. But in my example, turning on the lights is nicer. Let's turn them on. It worked. 2 points that I want to highlight. First of all, if there are any windows in the room, make sure to see if the view behind the windows is nice or not. So you can open the windows, the curtains, or shut them partially or completely. If the view isn't great, you might want to shut them completely, but keep some light coming from behind the curtains. However, in my example, and today because it's easier to take a shot without windows, I'm using a room without any windows in it. And something I want to stress on is that taking picture with different exposure levels, for example, having a window in it and the sun is coming from outside, it requires different kind of shooting or settings of my room. Today I chose this one because it's the easiest and the simplest, because I can control all the lights elements and I can turn them on or off and add some flash lights inside. So I'm gonna take some pictures now with the lights on or off. If I had to take a shot of a room that has big windows in it, or windows in general, then I would need to set my camera on different settings, which I'll explain in my future videos. But for now, we're just taking basic photo of a basic room without windows. When we want to take a shot of the interior of the house, it's better to have the camera at the furthest point of the room, or maybe a little bit outside the room, and taking picture of the room without trying to pushing everything together and using a wide angle sometimes might get a distorted image in the corners. In my example, I had to put the camera at the furthest point. Actually, I'm a little bit outside the room, and I managed to take the shot that I want. By the way, this is for beginners, so I'm only using my basic kit lens, which is 18 to 55 millimeter, and my camera is a Canon 250D or Rebel 3, which is also a good DSLR for beginners. I'm using it, I'm trying it, I'm going to show you the results shortly. One great tip that I've learned is setting up the height of the camera. For example, now the camera is too high for the photos, but for videos it's almost as high as my eyes. But when I take the shots, you're going to notice now I took the camera down a little bit just to match the level of the furniture. Rule of thumb, whenever you want to take a shot of anything interior, just use your benchmark. For example, here is the sofa as my benchmark. Use it as a benchmark and raise the camera up by 16 to 20 inches high and take the shot. It will look nicer and more balanced. Another tip, sometimes you might take a picture of part of the element. For example, taking a picture of the one side, sorry, my mobile, of two-thirds of the TV and leaving the first one cropped. This is fine because the viewer of the image can imagine the remaining part of the TV or the window maybe, as long as we compose the image in a nice way, so you don't have to show everything in the photo. And last thing is shooting RAW or in JPEG. For me, I don't need to edit the photo or anything because I just want to keep it simple, so I'm shooting in JPEG. However, it's always good to shoot in RAW so you can retouch the photo later and play with the elements. If it's underexposed, you can fix it, fix the colors as well. But for me, it's only now basic room photography. I'm just gonna keep it simple and take a picture with the JPEG, and that's it. By the way, when it comes to the gear for beginner photographers like me now, for example, I'm using basic gear. My camera, good tripod, and some lights. That's all. I did not use a speed light or flashlight. I'm gonna show them in future videos. But this is it for now. Basic gear setup for beginner photographers. Finally, now the exposure. What settings should we set the camera on to take the shot, especially if you're using manual? Let's start with the ISO. ISO should always be between 100 and 400, depending on how much light you would like to support the flash or the lights inside the room. But don't exceed 400 because the photo will be distorted slightly and the quality of the image will go down. The second thing is the aperture. The aperture, the more we open it, the smaller the number is, and the more depth of field we have in the photos. But in this photography, when we want to show big spaces, we want every element to be sharp. That's why we need bigger number or smaller opening of the lens, smaller aperture. For example, this shot I'm taking at f-stop 7.1 because I want all the elements to be sharp and I don't want to go beyond that because the photo will be darker. The opening of the lens will be smaller and less light will go into the photo. The third element is the shutter speed, and that's what we can play around with. If we feel that the image is dark, we need to slow down the shutter speed. This one, I'm gonna put the numbers on the camera. I'm gonna test with the shutter speed. but I might do it at 1/4 of the second or 1/6 of a second. We'll see. I'll keep the numbers on the photo. But this is what we can play around to fix the exposure or the brightness of the photo. I hope that you enjoyed my video and the tips. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell for the sake of YouTube algorithm and to get the latest of my videos. See you soon.